Welcome to productivity class day 2. Uh, on day 1, we established that productivity begins with what? Clarity, and clarity helps people understand what truly matters. And what truly matters is what you are supposed to focus on. So today, I want you to know that clarity alone is not enough. Clarity alone is not enough. Many people know this is what they should do, but they are not doing it. This is why we are going to talk about planning, because planning is a very essential part of clarity. So, day 2 is about structure. Why? Because planning turns clarity into action. When you are clear, you know the direction you want to go, and you plan, it will turn it into action. Without planning, clarity remains an idea. You know, this is what I want to do, is an idea, but because you have not planned, you can't make progress. So with planning, clarity, becomes what? Progress. So when people do not plan their time, they end up doing whatever comes their way. They react to circumstances around them. You begin to react to every circumstance that is around you. Everything that happens, you begin to react to it. The interruptions and other people's demand, you begin to gravitate to it. So, like we established the fact before, that this leads towards stress, confusion, and inconsistent results. So productivity improves when time is managed intentionally rather than emotionally. You must learn to manage your time intentionally. So why is planning essential for productivity? Why do you need to plan to be productive? Planning gives direction to effort. As you plan, it gives direction to effort. Now, when people plan, they reduce the number of decisions they must make during the day. So when you have already planned, the decisions you will make, you reduce it because you know what to do. You understand? So instead of you asking, what should I do next? You already know where to take your energy to. You already know where your energy should go. So when you have days that are unplanned, unplanned days are easily taken over by distractions, messages, calls, emergencies, and unimportant tasks begin to fill the day. So by the end of such days, you begin to feel so unsatisfied. You feel so unhappy because you have not moved closer to your priority. Remember, we talked about three major things, three major priorities that we are supposed to have for the week. So planning will reduce your mental stress. When tasks are written down, when you plan, you write down, oh, this is what I want to achieve. What happens is that your mind is relieved of the burden of remembering what you want to do, of remembering everything. So this is what I call mental freedom. Mental freedom. And mental freedom allows you to focus and create and increase your productivity. It also helps your creativity to increase. You become so creative because in that thing that you have decided to do, you have planned to do, you'll be able to think better on that thing. So why do many people plan and it fails? Why many plans? Why do many plans fail? Many people attempt to plan, but they feel unsuccessful. And one major reason is because of overloading. They try to fit so many tasks into one day. They are fixing so many things into one day without considering their limitations. So this creates unrealistic expectations and leads to discouragement when tasks remains unfulfilled or unfinished. So why do plans fail? It fails. Plans fail without clarity. When people plan their activities instead of priorities. You are planning activities instead of planning your priorities. Your schedules become full, so full, and your progress will remain so limited, so limited. Uh, and I want you to understand that a busy schedule does not automatically mean that you have a productive life. If you like, do everything. It doesn't mean that you have a productive life. At every time in a person's life, you must have a time where you are resting. So ignoring rest is another common mistake. Productivity does not include let me say, productivity does not mean that you are going to work yourself all through. You understand? It does not mean so. So productivity that does not include rest is unsustainable. On what? Sustainable. So when people are constantly tired, when you are tired, if you find that you're always tired, your focus will weaken, your ability to follow through will decline. So now let's go to how can you plan effectively during the week? Remember our top three priorities. So how can you plan effective weekly planning? Effective productivity starts with weekly planning, not daily panicking. Planning should be done before your week begins. If you want to plan before your day, your week, begin. Preferably in a calm moment rather than in a rush time. So this will allow you to think strategically instead of emotionally. If you just come up with things, you will not be able to think strategically. So what do you do? Your weekly plan involves your uh, scheduling your priorities first. You have to put your three priorities, your top most priorities, the most important tasks should be placed into the calendar before your minor activities. So when your priorities are scheduled, they are scheduled, they are protected. That is what will happen. So everything else must fit in around those your priorities. Everything else you are doing must fit in around those your priorities. You must live your life as a woman of purpose, as a person of purpose. So in during your week, you must create something they call flexibility. Create flexibility, so you could be able to adjust things if it's necessary, because life is very, very unpredictable. Productivity improves when you leave room for adjustment rather than just trying to control every moment, because the truth of the matter is that you can't control every moment of your life. You understand? So you must learn to be flexible around your life. So there's what we call time blocking, and so we'll say I call it time blocking, a simple approach to focus. So now, what is time blocking? Time blocking is a practical tool that helps people manage their time effectively. You understand? It is a practical tool that helps people manage their time effectively. It involves dividing the day into blocks of time. So this is where you will divide your day into blocks of time. Then you assign specific tasks to each block. Now, block of time. Then you assign specific tasks to each of these your block. So instead of you multitasking, one task is handled within a designated time frame. So you don't multitask. You assign one task, you understand, to a designated time frame. Remember, we have created a block. So this approach helps you not to be overwhelmed, because your mind knows exactly what to focus on at given moments. Your mind knows what to focus on at every given moment. So time blocking also helps you to recognize how much time, your tasks acquire. How much time does your tasks need? So you create blocks. You divide your day into blocks of time. You understand? Divide your day into blocks of time, and when you do it, it helps you to recognize how much time your task requires to be accomplished. So preventing you from unrealistic expectations. So now, when time is structured, focus improves naturally. You become so focused. So remember that as you create your blocks of time. Oh, this is what I'm going to do from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Or this is what I'm going to do from so time to so time. This is what I'm going to do from so time to so time. Then you should have time of make sure that you have time of rest, time for flexibility when anything can happen and you would have to change things. So now, how do you plan? You need to plan around energy levels. You don't just, it's not every time that you don't have the same amount of energy at every time. When you wake up in the morning, it's a different energy. When in the afternoon, it's a different energy. In the evening, it's a different energy. So there are things that should be left for the morning season. There are things that should be left for the afternoon season, and there are things that should be left for the evening season. So not all hours of the day are equal. Energy fluctuates and productivity improves when people work with their energy rather than against their energy. So now high energy periods are best, suited for demanding tasks that require your concentration. So you need to do tasks, those things that energy periods are best suited for demanding tasks that require concentration, while low energy periods can be used for lighter tasks. So ignoring energy levels often leads to frustration and fatigue. If you ignore your energy levels, it will lead to frustration, it leads to fatigue. So now, planning according to energy promotes your efficiency and reduces your burnout. So now let's go to the daily focus system, what I call daily focus system. Now, each day should have one main focus. Each day of your life, you should have one main focus. This is what I want to do. Stop doing many things at the same time. Remember, we have 3 priorities for the week. So this does not mean that only one thing is done in a day, actually, but it means that one task is given priority attention. One task, you give it a topmost priority attention. So when everything is treated as equally important, nothing gets completed. Are you getting what I'm saying? So focusing on one main task increases the likelihood of completion, which builds confidence and motivation. So completion creates momentum, and momentum fuels your consistency. So when you complete your tasks, it helps you to be consistent. So let us go to managing distractions and setting boundaries. Distractions are one of the greatest enemies of productivity. Distractions are one of the greatest enemies of productivity. What are some of the things that can distract you? Your phones, notifications, interruptions, unplanned commitments. What do? They pull you away from meaningful work. They pull you away from success. They pull you away from making progress. They pull you away from destiny. Are you getting what I'm saying? Social media, in fact, these things are, I call them distractors of destiny. So you must know what you are using social media for. Know what you are using it for. When you are there, know what you are using it for. Productivity requires what we call boundaries. Boundaries must be set in your life. Boundaries must be set. Now, social media is a great tool, and a lot of people have used it to get to the next level of their lives, while some are just being distracted by the so-called happiness, or they think comes with it. But I'll tell you that it's a waste of time, being on social media without a purpose. When you're on social media, you must have a reason for being there. And when you are true, you must come out of it. And you must know, okay, this is when I will be there. This is how long I can stay there. watching of movies, everything you must create boundary in your life. If you want to be very productive, if you want to be a productive woman or a productive man, you must, set boundaries. Setting boundaries does not mean being unkind or unavailable. It means protecting time and energy. Protecting time and energy. Learning to say no, without guilt is very essential for sustained productivity. You must learn to tell things that are distracting you no. You must learn to tell people that are distracting you no matter who they are. I once talked to a lady, and whenever she's with you, she counts her time. She knows she's going to be with you for 1 hour and she would leave that place. When you stay in a place for too long, I want you to know you'll begin to say things that you are not supposed to say. So every yes you say in this life comes with a cost, and wise decisions consider that cost. That cost, that thing that it will cost you to waste your time. You understand? If you make a wise decision, it will be very, very better for you. So now let's go to uh, implementation of time blocking for, you have to implement this time blocking for at least one full day. Focus on one major task and reduce one recurring distraction. So these small actions will help you build confidence and reinforce learning. So productivity, is not about controlling every moment. What really is productivity? It is about managing time with intention. Planning provides the structure that clarity needs in order to produce results. So when people plan effectively, stress reduces, focus improves, and progress becomes what? Consistent. So day two of this training bridges the gap between knowing what matters and actually getting it done. So we have learned on how we can get what really matters to be done, and how do we do it? We do it by planning our time. Creating blocks of time. This is what I should do from this time to this time. You understand? And also being flexible, around those times. So this is what we have learned, and I want us to work on this. So now let's go to the next very important thing I want us to learn is consistency, rest, and sustainable productivity. So how to stay productive without burning out. How do you stay productive without burning out? So many people can be productive for a short period of time. They get motivated, make plans, and take actions. However, after a few days or week, the energy fades and routines collapse and productivity slows down. This has happened to me a lot of time, and it's in fact at a time it became like a circle. You are productive, very productive for 1 month, and the next month you are not productive, and it's like you are starting over and over again. So this is not because you are incapable, it's because you have not learned how to build sustainable productivity. You must learn how to build sustainable productivity. So productivity should not cost you your peace, your health, or joy. True productivity is not about doing more in a short uh, period of time. It is about maintaining steady progress over time without what I call exhaustion. So why is it that many people start well but don't continue? This is a Why is it that many people start well but do not continue? I know you would like to know why. One of the biggest productivity challenges is reliance on motivation. We are relying on motivation. Motivation is emotional. It is emotional. Oh, I need motivation, and emotions change. So when productivity depends on how a person feels, it becomes inconsistent. Some days feel energetic, other days feel heavy. No, 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 no. Productivity that depends on feelings will always rise and fail. I've seen this over time. Productivity that depends on feelings always rise and fail. So consistency is not built on excitement. It is built on repeated habits and simple systems. So another challenge is the absence of systems. Without systems, people rely on memory and willpower. So over time, this causes exhaustion. You understand? So what does system do? System creates structure, and structure supports consistency. We must learn structure. So let us go to consistency over intensity. Many people believe that productivity requires intense effort. Now, if you want to be productive, you must put effort, so much effort. No, intensity can create short-term results. It really lasts. You understand? So it's not about intense effort. I want you to understand that it really lasts. Consistency, on the other hand, is what produces lasting change. So we are talking on consistency over intensity. Many people believe that productivity requires intense effort, while intensity can create short-term results. You understand? It really lasts. It really lasts. So consistency, on the other hand, produces lasting change. So small actions done daily are more powerful than large actions done occasionally. So when people aim for perfection or extreme productivity, they often become discouraged and quit. So don't aim for uh, uh, extreme productivity. Don't aim for perfection, because it might make you to become what? Discouraged. Are you getting what I'm saying? So sustainable productivity focuses on progress. Sustainable productivity focuses on progress, not perfection. So consistency builds your confidence. When you are consistent in what you're doing, it will build your confidence, because each completed task reinforces discipline and encourages you to continue from where you have stopped. So now let's go to what I call habits, the foundation of sustainable productivity. Habits play a central role in productivity. Your habits. A habit is an action you repeat consistently. So until it now becomes automatic, this is what you have been doing. So when actions become habitual, they require less mental effort and less motivation. You don't need any motivation to do something that you have been doing consistently. So people do not rely on willpower every day. They rely on habits. Habits, conserve your energy, reduce your decision making, and increase your reliability. This is very, very important. The habits that you form. So starting small is the key. Whatever you are doing, start small. You want to write a book, start small. Whatever you want to do a business, start small. Everything in life, comes out from a seed. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, that seed is what will produce a tree. The tree will grow, produce fruits, and then seeds. Nothing in life starts from the top. Everything starts from a seed. So when you conceive that idea, and based on clarity, and you begin to plan, work towards these things gradually, you see that you start making progress. So it's not something that you have an idea and you start working at it and you want to finish it instantly. It will make you to be exhausted. So you can't change everything at once, because attempting to change everything at once will lead to what I call failure. So focusing on one habit at a time increases your chances of success and builds your momentum. So builds your momentum. So We are going to stop here for today. But before we stop, I want to say something about uh, rest. Okay, I want to say something about rest. So, but before we talk about rest, let's take some time to recap what we have just learned today. We have learned a lot. We've learned about planning. We've learned about planning, and we've talked about how we should plan, and now we are talking about consistency. That whatever we want to do requires our consistency and starting really, really small. Starting small. So I believe that you have been getting something. If you are getting value from this training, please let me know in the comments section. Let me know in the comment section. So now let's talk a little bit on rest before we recap for the next day. So the role of rest in productivity. Rest is often, misunderstood. People take rest as this person is weak, this person is lazy, but rest is very, very essential for productivity. Without rest, focus declines. Without rest, focus declines. Creativity reduces and discipline weakens. So there are different types of rest. We have the physical rest of that restores the body. We have the mental rest that clears the mind. Then we have emotional and spiritual rest, which restores your inner strength. So when you ignore rest, it will lead to being burned out, regardless of your discipline or your intention. So when productivity ignores rest, you know, uh, you can't even be productive. So what does rest do? Rest helps you to return back to work with renewed energy and clarity. So at this point, you would need to you know, review your life, review yourself, and you would need to check. You would need to check. So it's very important that you reflect on how you have worked. You begin to think on how you have worked, and what you really need to adjust in your life. So without reflection, you will make mistakes. You make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. So you need to review, and reviewing promotes your learning ability. It turns your experience into insights and allows you to improve constantly. So productivity is not about being rigid, but it's about learning and adapting to new things. So when you review, you create self-awareness, and what you also do, you create intentional growth for yourself. So how do you build a productive reading? So so now I want to ask you to identify one habit that you will commit to for the next 7 days. This habit should support your productivity without overwhelming you. I want you to do this. So then you should also assess your rest pattern, how you rest. What I'm saying is a lot of women are having high blood pressure. So what is causing this lack of rest? The mind is not at rest. The body is not at rest. Nothing is at rest. Now they want to do everything for everyone. And it's so bad when you are doing everything for everyone without you growing, without you doing something for yourself, without you manifesting destiny. And it's like you are shrinking. You are shrinking. You that was once a very active lady, a young lady with a vision, you see yourself living that vision and living your life for others. Living your life for others. So when you do this, when you're able to think about this thing, identify your areas of exhaustion, it will help you to adjust. So now, what are some of the common mistakes that leads to burnout? Burnout often results from overcommitment, lack of boundaries and unrealistic expectations. Comparing your productivity with others also contributes to pressure and discouragement. Now, I want you to remove your eyes from every other person's business. Now, whatever they are doing is not your business. Now, you need to compete with yourself, compete with your last level, and help yourself to go to the next level of your life. When you are looking at what others are doing, you will not be focused. You will not be focused. You will be burnout. You'll be stressed up. You'll be frustrated. I've seen this happen so many times to people, without even understanding that God takes people through process. He that wants to build a tower must first of all sit down to look at it, count the cost, and know if you would be able to finish it. So you don't start building a tower by looking at what someone else has built. You don't build your life by looking at someone else's life. You don't build your marriage by looking at someone else's marriage. Now everybody is unique. So every individual has unique capacity. So productivity improves when people work within their limits rather than against their limits. So productivity is not about doing more, it's about living intentionally. It is the alignment of clarity, structure, and consistency and rest. So when these elements work together, productivity becomes sustainable and fulfilling. So this is not perfection, but it is progress. Then consistency steps. When you are consistent, when you take consistent steps, it will lead you to meaningful results over time. So you must learn how to be consistent. Learn how to be consistent. So I want you to live here today with a mindset of intentional living rather than pressure. Productivity should support your purpose, not compete with your purpose. Remember, doing everything that does not align with God's purpose for your life is not productivity. It is not progress. So true productivity will actually bring you peace, balance and steady growth. If you have not listened to the first lecture, please go and listen to it so that you can understand what it means to be productive. What is productivity? I want you to know that this lecture is to help you to align with God's plan and purpose for your life. My name is Adebisi Joyateli. I'm a coach, I'm a pastor, I'm a woman that helps other women to realize their potential, to use all that God has embedded in them. I don't believe that you should leave one thing unused because God has given you everything that you need to succeed. Now, do you remember that woman that cried to the prophet and said, the creditors were coming to take her sons, and the man asked her, what do you have inside of you? So when she discovered what she had and concentrated on what she had, remember the prophet said, begin to pour on those jar that you have collected. And when she stopped pouring, what happened is that the oil ceased to flow. So listen to me, there is something inside of you that will keep flowing until you by yourself stop it. You are the only one that can stop yourself. You are the only one that can stop your destiny. You are the only one that can stop your productivity. So it's time for you to take your destiny by force. It's time for you to move to the next level. Now, I want to introduce you to my book, Becoming an Extraordinary Woman. I wrote this book in 2025 and I had the goal to finish it by May 2025, and everything became a reality because this was my topmost priority for the year and some other things, but this was number one for me. And it became possible because I aligned myself to God's plan and purpose for my life. I did it by the grace of God. So I want to encourage you to get this book. You can send me a message, DM me for this book, and I'll send it to you just for a little token. Now, I want you to understand that this is a project of transformation, a project that can change your life. Becoming an extraordinary woman, it's going to take you on an extraordinary journey, a journey a journey of discipline, a journey to your next level, a journey to betting, and your life would never remain the same. I want you to join me on our next training, which is going to take us to the next level of productivity.